Ladies and gents, we are back once again, and I am excited. I'm really excited. It has been over a year since we covered Earth 2, the unfolding disaster of a metaverse, and the reason for that is that there really hasn't been anything worth covering. Of course, there've been the daily cock-ups, there's been the weekly disasters, but they've all been relatively small in scale and honestly, not even worth an entire video. The only thing that I can think of that would have been worth possibly mentioning, but also wasn't worth an entire video, would have been the December data breach that got confirmed by Have I Been Pwned, where apparently 500,000 users' emails that were tied to the usernames were leaked through, honestly, a really hilarious method that would have remained completely unknown except for the fact that Shane threw a hissy fit under the tweet and honestly just sad posted a huge response saying you should be more diligent and tell people that passwords weren't leaked. To which Troy Hunt, the person who runs Have I Been Pwned, said, yeah, the post quite literally says emails and usernames. Like, we're telling you what was leaked, not what wasn't, otherwise the list would be infinite. You know, the fucking size of underwear that you wear wasn't leaked, but you don't need to tell people that. Well, anyway, that was hysterical, and that is really the only content that would have been in a prior video. So I guess I've just done 2 videos in one. Banging. So why are we here today? Well, today is a momentous day, because a couple of days ago, Earth 2 finally released their pre-alpha of Earth 2 that a select few testers could download. They could log in and they could play. I use the term play very loosely, and you'll see why in a moment. Now, you need to remember something, right? We need to have a throwback to what Earth 2 have been showing off, all their features, the cool stuff. And we will have a catch-up on that in a minute when I get to that point. It's a disaster. It's an actual disaster. They have essentially released Google Earth without any of the buildings or useful information that Google Earth would provide, single player, no multiplayer, just single player, because in their words, we'll add multiplayer later. And if you know me at all, you will know my saying on this. You cannot just slap multiplayer as like a layer on top of the cake. It's not the garnish on top of the dish. It is the fundamental foundation of anything you're going to build on top of it. You build on top of the networking. There are all these companies advertising bolt-on network solutions, and people have just smelt the roses and followed it off down the path. The problem with bolt-on networking solutions is it works very loosely on games that maybe have 30 or 40 players. And a prime example of this is Star Atlas. I think it was Star Atlas that released their multiplayer demo of only 200 people. A 100-a-side battle. And it was so laggy that it was unplayable. Somebody would shoot a bullet at an enemy, walk 20 meters, and then their bullet would appear, shoot, look like it's hit a target, but that enemy is now no longer there. They're actually off over the mountains, and they now take damage from a bullet that was never shot at them. I'm not going to get into why that is the case with bolt-on, but it's because you're now replicating so many more variables after the fact that they've been changed rather than on the server initially. It's just a mess. That's all I'm going to say. But let's dive into what has come out in the Earth 2 release, because I think you're going to find this pretty exciting. Or not, I guess. Right, we've donned the air traffic controllers. Now, let's show you this. This is someone's first experience jumping into this and live streaming it. So first of all, they log in and they're greeted by the select your avatar screen. Now, remember, Earth 2 was selling skins before anything existed. They were just selling skins for a game that didn't exist with characters that didn't exist. So here they are. These are the skins this person owns.
Record.
So they click select, they spawn their avatar in.
Oh.
And they're in complete pitch black. Now, anybody Anybody who has played any game would say, oh, this is clearly a bug. Oh no, not the Earth 2 community. This is a feature. The area he spawned into, it's nighttime there. What? The damage control being done on this abysmal release is that this is a feature. You spawn in and can see nothing except the garish glowing on your character's skin. What really annoys me about this is it is clear. It is abundantly clear, because this isn't a one-off. This has happened to a few people a few times. This would have been caught in internal testing within seconds. Within seconds. That you log in, it is pitch black, you can't see anything, it is unplayable. And if it is true that this is an intended feature, that is, yeah, but it's night there, so there is no sun, there's no light. There is a reason that games don't do that they don't follow the proper luminosity of the sun during day and night cycles. There is a reason that they don't do that, because it is absolutely unplayable. The problem is, Earth 2 is having constant cock-ups and constant issues, constant bugs, constant features that just don't work, that they don't address because it makes them look bad. They leave a wake of destruction behind them, and then the Earth 2 community come crawling out of the woodwork, sweeping up the mess, trying to do damage control, therefore making it infinitely worse. And this is just problem number one. It gets deeper, it gets worse, and there's a point I want to touch on in a minute once I've addressed some of these issues that I think is an important one. Oh, and I need to explain something. Something really important about this that is bonkers to me, that this is even something that was conceptualized. As you can see, when they're creating their avatar, it says here, Ether, 8.53. That is the money that you need to pay to respawn. Every time you die in this game, you have to pay out of your wallet to respawn. I have played some egregious games with just the worst monetization in history, and I have never seen a game do this and become successful. And it's even worse because the only way you can currently die in the game is of starvation and of falling off something. And you might be thinking, oh wait, so it's a survival game now. Yep, it's apparently a survival game now. And you might think, well, what are you surviving against? You're surviving against you walking around. The only thing that can drain your hunger and stamina is walking. And the only thing that can boost it up is by getting food from bushes. So to survive, you need to stand still, and you can survive indefinitely. But if you walk around, you need to pick up food. But to pick up food, you need to walk around, which drains your hunger. It's a gameplay, it's an anti-gameplay loop. It's a gameplay loop that says if you walk around, you need to stop yourself dying from walking to be able to walk more, to get more food, to stop yourself from the walk that to stop yourself from dying from the walk that you just took. So therefore, the optimal way to not have to pay money from dying is to stand still, which honestly isn't a bad idea because there is nothing to do in this game, and I mean quite literally nothing. The next thing is collision. One of possibly the simplest things in game development is collision. Objects can have collision, not have collision, have more detailed collision, have less detailed collision. As you can see as they're walking around, their character keeps stuttering because every fern, every blade of tall grass, every plant has collision enabled. You can't walk over a plant, you walk into it. And this is again where I see pure copium from the Earth 2 supporters that again make them look utterly stupid. When people have pointed out that this is just wrong, that you shouldn't have collision on bushes and tiny plants, they came rallying to the rescue, absolutely rallying to say, yes, but with a world this size, it's very hard to fix this collision. Which, if you know anything about game development, is wholly, factually, provably untrue. It's not even just wrong, it's hilariously wrong. Let's say you've got a plant in the game that you don't want collision on. You open that plant in the model viewer in any engine, and this is unanimous. It's the same across every engine. You check, and I know I say this a lot, you check a checkbox, a single checkbox, to disable collision. You don't do it per plant. You do it for one plant, and that same plant across the entire world. There could be one plant in the world. There could be 1 trillion plants in the world. They will now no longer have collision. The effort to fix that is the same in a platformer game as it is the world's biggest MMO. It's a single checkbox, which again tells me that nobody did any in-house testing on this whatsoever. Not a drop of testing was done. Because if they had, you would have caught all of these bugs within a minute. Also, we need to go back to when Earth 2 said, we've mapped out every freshwater and seawater resource across the entire globe so that you won't be able to drink salt water or ocean water, only fresh water. Well, the game's come out and you now must drink salt water to survive, which is just absurd. Like, let's be real, it's absurd. And you'll notice this a lot with everything Earth 2. Everything they claimed they had has provably not existed. Like, it doesn't exist. Because the game's now out and the things they claimed they'd made just don't exist. Next up is the one thing you can do, which is gather food, where you've got to stand for like 8 to 10 seconds at a bush to interact with it, which is already ridiculous, just to be told that this banana bush that visually, provably, undoubtedly has bananas, has no bananas. And then you walk around and do that again. And it seems like a 10% chance that a banana bush that visually has bananas actually has any bananas. The same with berries on bushes and all that nonsense. There's just... what is going on? And the icing on the cake for me is this inventory system is the most jank nonsense I've ever seen. Because it takes like 2 seconds to update what's in your inventory, despite the fact, and you need to remember this, despite the fact it's not multiplayer, so the inventory is likely working off your system. Like, your computer is managing the inventory in this version of the game, I would imagine. And as you can see, there's 16 inventory slots, but for God knows what reason, if you pick an item, it'll come up and say, you have no space in your inventory after only filling 6 inventory slots. Again, something that if it was tested, you'd look at and go, well, that's not right. Let's maybe not do that. But this brings us on to the kind of the cherry on top with this, the icing on the cake. And I'm not talking about the networking icing on the cake. I'm talking about just the world as a whole. Now, speaking of something that isn't complicated and is actually just straightforward, this video is sponsored by Printful, who helped me figure out how to make actual merch without starting a warehouse in my nan's living room. So here's the deal. Normally, if you want to start selling merch, you've got to order a ton, hope they sell, and then be disappointed when there's 300 of them sitting in your bedroom collecting dust. That's the nightmare version. But with Printful, it's all print on demand. This means you only pay when someone actually buys something, and no shipping things yourself while fighting with a roll of tape at 2 AM. Here's how it works. Step 1. Pick a niche. I went with a design that I produced a while back, ready for a collection that I'm actually planning on releasing with a friend of mine. Step 2. Pick your products. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, whatever. With over hundreds of items ready to be printed on, you definitely won't be short for choice. Printful has everything ranging from caps, t-shirts, trousers, sportswear, headbands, bags, drinkware, phone cases, sweaters, shoes, and so much more. If Printful doesn't have it, it's probably not worth having. Step 3. Simply upload the design. Step 4. Link your Printful account to Shopify. Click publish and boom, it's live. Printful handles everything else. The printing, the shipping, and even the tracking links. All white label. And the great thing is it simplifies printing. This lets you scale like crazy. You can test new designs, new niches with no upfront cost, completely risk-free. And expand your product range in just a few clicks. Oh, and Printful is used by companies like Spotify, MTV, NBC, and now me. So if they're trusting Printful with their stuff, I think it's safe to say you can too. Once you've got your shop live, it is your job to then just simply market the thing. Whether that be YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Do it however works best for you. And if you're interested in what I've been cooking up, you're going to have to wait a little longer. I originally spent so much time prototyping designs with other print-on-demand companies that just didn't meet my expectations of quality, that it actually delayed the overall timeline of making this collection public. But since I found Printful and their absolute top-notch quality, I'm now happy to continue moving forward, and I guess you'll see soon. Not everybody is trying to create a clothing brand or a business. Some people want uniform or clothing for their company. Printful can be used for that too. If you've ever wanted to launch your own line of merch, or just try building something with zero upfront cost, check out Printful. Link is down in the description below. Just please don't steal my design. We're all good. As always, a massive thank you to Printful for sponsoring today's video. And without any further ado, let's get back to it, shall we? Hello, Editor Callum here, and while I was editing, they've actually put out an update that is, well, they've put out update notes on the issues that were present in the initial release. And my god, this is just... If you've followed Earth 2 as much as I have, you'll know that they can't just say something how it is. This is the most AI-generated post. It's like they handed it patch notes and said, make this sound interesting and hyper-technical. July 27th, 2025, Sydney, Australia. Over the past 5 days, our development team has been hard at work identifying and improving various systems inside the E2v1 pre-alpha. The most significant of these updates is an improvement to the global collision system, aimed at improving the character movement experience for players. In addition to this update, a number of other fixes have been implemented to address some bugs, enhance feedback, and streamline interactions across various game systems. Right, let's get into this juice then. Below is a full list of Reality Thread 2 Okay, right. This is something else I need to explain. They don't just call things updates, because they originally broke the game into sections that they were going to call updates, but then they realized, wow, we can't make the basic things all together. So now we need a subsection of a subsection, which they call chapters, but then that was too big for them, so they've now made a subsection of that they've called Reality Threads. The first one was the release of the game, Update 1, so Reality Thread, think of it as Update. This is Update 2. A core update to the collision system now excludes small vegetation such as bushes and minor trees, allowing for smoother and less obstructed movement across natural terrain. The updated system now differentiates larger trees by preserving their collision properties and, importantly, maintains the detection of small vegetation so they will be searchable, even though players can now run through them with their characters. This update has been applied on a global scale and should take effect in all regions across the entire Earth. Now, if you're an absolute moron, this probably sounds incredibly impressive. Like I said earlier, this is just a checkbox on each asset, so the bush and the tree. It is 2 checkboxes in total, and it automatically applies to everything across the whole world. Earth 2 hasn't just gone in and magically started sifting through tile by tile and one by one applying collision. That's not how that works, and if it is, you've developed your game wrong. Updated detection logic has been introduced to identify when a character is at risk of breaking through the terrain or being forcibly displaced. Yeeted. A new pop-up warning now allows the player to cancel the action before it proceeds, particularly in cases where the detection may be a false positive. Are you shitting me? Are you serious? They didn't just fix their broken collision with players clipping through the floor and getting yeeted or whatever. They've now had it try to detect it and then ask the player if it was correct. Oh my god. I am actually lost for words. Like, unbelievably, genuinely lost for words that is a sentence I've just read. Characters won't be able to run underwater anymore. Great. The stamina boost provided by drinking water has been increased from 20 to 50, making hydration more beneficial during gameplay. There is no gameplay. There just isn't. We remind players again that we are very aware that water is important inside E2v1. We mentioned this from the beginning. Over time, new options will be introduced to manage water, including new water resources. Now, I asked an Earth 2 player, someone from the Earth 2 community, what the hell that even means. They haven't got a clue. Like, not a sausage. Over time, new options will be introduced to manage water, including new water resources. What do you mean, manage water? I can only assume they're talking about your thirst meter, but that's not what it says, so question mark, God knows. And this one is bewildering. Cosmetic skin selection has been temporarily disabled in anticipation for the crafting system, which is planned to follow once the current build state... What has the custom skin selector got to do with the crafting system? Like, this is absolute word soup. And then it's just visual and UI spelling mistakes and whatnot. Oh my god, I think I just had an aneurysm reading this. Because when you actually look at this for what it is, it's them fixing the three, not even features, but things that were available in the first update. That's all it is. So this isn't even an update, it's a patch to the first update. My god. Right, back to Callum in the past. What we need to remember is that Earth 2 have shown off a plethora of features that they said are ready. They're past development and they're ready for testing. We had hordes, which was your land will spawn a horde event where creatures come in and you've got to defend your land from the evil creeps and goblins and skeletons and lions, oh my. And they showed it off. And we all said, all of us with any ounce of game knowledge and game development knowledge, looked at it and said, point blank, this is not built in the Earth 2 like build of the game, because all of the things that they've shown so far aren't there. The UI elements aren't there. The map thing, the mentors, not there. So it's clear that this is in its own version of the game, and it's just not, it's like in its own level, separate of anything else. And we said, so I don't believe it even works. And they were like, no, it does work. We've been testing it. It definitely works. And then you had them showing off animals. Oh, exciting. There's animals roaming around. We've added tigers and rabbits and deer and elk. Look at them all roaming around. Isn't this exciting? And we said, I don't believe they're using AI because it's showing it from a third-person camera, which means it's just being controlled by a person. And they're like, no, that we just got a nice camera shot of it. Well, none of those things are in this build of the game. So if you have it ready and it's ready for testing, where is it? It's not even just the fact that Earth 2 feels underdeveloped. It feels like it's been undeveloped. Because you'll remember that 2 years ago, or in fact it's been longer now, Earth 2 put out a video showing their beautiful terrain and showing it changing in real time and showing how gorgeous it was with no pop-in, no artifacting or anything. And I point blank called it out and said, this is pre-rendered. I said it has to be because of a few telltale signs. And they had the balls to come back to me and say, no, it's not. It is not pre-rendered, and in fact, we challenge you to make the things we claim we've made, but refuse to show you. So I did. Now, you'll remember what that looked like as it's now on screen. This is what they were showing off. You know, zooming kilometers out, and nothing's popping or artifacting. It's just seamless. Which was one of the clues to me that this was pre-rendered. Because back then, we couldn't 100% prove that it was pre-rendered because we didn't have access to that build of the game. Well, now people do. And I think the entire house of cards is now falling apart at record speed because I have never seen a game with more artifacting than this. There are trees constantly spawning in and out, grass just flickering like epileptic fit levels of flickering. In most areas of the game, the visual fidelity doesn't even remotely match what was shown in that earlier video. Once again, telling me that it had to be pre-rendered to get to that level of fidelity. So I just find it genuinely really sad that, like, this is what people have been playing. And there's clips of one of these live streamers getting genuinely excited at the ability to drink water from the ocean. Like, actually clapping and applauding it.
Yes. Hydration complete. Woo! And there was a sound even. I want some more of that. Let's go. Hydration. Come on. Yes.
And this tells me one of two things. The copium is running deep. Like, it is running deep through the veins, because that isn't anything new. It isn't revolutionary, and it certainly isn't anything to be excited about. Or the other possibility is, this guy was streaming this for 7 hours over the course of 3 days, and it was literally him walking around eating berries when he finally manages to find some in those pesky bushes that you can't walk through. Because if he didn't get excited about picking a banana from a tree or drinking ocean water, he'd just be silent throughout the whole thing, because there's nothing. I know so many times we say, oh, there's nothing to do in a game. There is nothing to do in this game. It's not an exaggeration. The clips you've seen are the extent of what there is to do, and that's kind of horrifying that after 4 years, 5 years, I think at this point, this is what they've released. Because you need to remember, 3 years ago, in fact, I think it was even longer than 3 years ago, Earth 2 and Shane were boasting about all the things they have and showing them off. You'll remember the centimetre accurate collision on the ground. There's none of that. Your feet are clipping through the floor constantly. Which, again, nobody would care if your feet clip through the floor, but it's the fact they have to find something to lie about and say, we have this new technology. And it's just provably untrue. I actually find it embarrassing that the community are out here doing the dirty work, trying to save the image of Earth 2. And I want to show you something, because Earth 2's crypto has taken an absolute dive again to almost its lowest ever point. Here it is, you know, on the build up to the hype. And as soon as they release this demo, it tanks. And people keep saying, oh, how is it tanking? They've released a demo. That is the very reason that it has tanked. Because something that needs to be understood about Earth 2, and needs to be made abundantly clear, is that Earth 2's investors only make money when they get the gamers on board. Like the non-Web3 crypto bro gamers, just us, me and you. The money that will be extracted from the game needs to be injected by us. Because right now, the only chance they have to take profit is from each other. But no one's willing to take the loss, because they're all there to make money. So we have to be the little pay piggies that come in and fund their withdrawals, which still aren't enabled, by the way. So for them to make money, it's relying on us being impressed by this. And the release and reveal of this pre-alpha is abysmal. It's not even just bad or, ooh, yikes. It's abysmal. If the bar was set resting on the floor, that would be fine. But these guys have tunneled into hollow earth, and that's where the bar's now been set for them. And I hate the use of the word pre-alpha. If I ever hear pre-alpha, that tells me that a company's going to release their alpha, but even they know that it is so abysmal that people are going to mock them even though it's an alpha. And my god, this is the case with Earth 2 right now. And the crypto bros will keep telling you in the live streams, which the comments in the live streams have been hilarious to watch. Because it's real gamers finding this, coming in thinking it's a game, you know, as you would goddamn expect, and asking genuine questions like, oh, can we see base building? Oh, there's no base building. Okay, well, what can you do with other players? Oh, well, there's no multiplayer. And the gamers are going, well, what is it then? And oh my god, thank you for asking that question, because we've been asking it for almost 5 years. What is Earth 2? And the reality is, Earth 2 doesn't even know what it is. The crypto bros and Earth 2 zealots will keep telling you, oh, it's a system, it's a platform for a game. But if it's a platform, it needs to have stable foundations, and currently there are no foundations. It's built on a buttery biscuit base that's crumbling apart right now. They're building it on an unstable cheesecake. There is nothing you can build on top of this that won't immediately break into a million pieces. And I think Shane knows that. And I think that's why he's just dragging his feet with developing or releasing anything. Because let's be completely honest, where's the profitability in doing that? Because Shane put out all these videos and advertisement campaigns of, guys, we're adding animals to Earth 2. Earth 2 is going to have all these animals. Who cares? No game advertises that there are animals in their game. It's a feature that if the game will have animals, it is expected to have animals. That isn't a feature, that's just a given. It's even gotten to a point now where the Earth 2 community are saying to me, you see, you said Earth 2 would die, and look, they've released this, and I'm like, bro, that isn't Earth 2 living. If this is your haha gotcha moment, I feel sorry for you. Because this is Earth 2 dying. Like, releasing this and expecting any amount of hype or excitement outside of the Earth 2 community is wishful thinking at best. Because even the gamers who have never heard of Earth 2, who've stumbled across this since the pre-alphas come out, are clowning on it. Because even they're pointing out that it's like, it looks like a Unity project that's been thrown together in a weekend by a junior dev that's in university. And it doesn't matter what tech you claim you have. It doesn't matter what tech Earth 2 claims, oh, we've got this, this thing will do that. If you don't show it, and I believe the reason it isn't being shown is because it doesn't exist, as I pointed out in the challenge video, because I believe it was pre-rendered. If you can't show it, it likely means you don't have it, and if you don't have it, no one cares that you claim you do. It's just a mess that you've created for yourself, and then you've got your minions coming and cleaning up, doing, you know, perpetual damage control, which is actually spiraling into more damage. It's just a mess. I actually feel sorry for the people that put money into this. Like, you know, in earnest, thinking it was going to be a game. Not the people that put money in to try and extract from others. I feel sorry for the people who put money in thinking that this game they had been sold on would actually ever exist. Because if you remember, they've already pivoted 4 times. When the website first came out, hey guys, we're building an eco-sim. They've scrapped it. There is no eco-sim. It's now a survival game with nothing to survive from. And then they said, oh, it's going to be a kind of industrial production game. So you can build hollow pay us some money and you can build hollow buildings that you'll be able to put down in Earth 2. Where are the hollow buildings? They've scrapped that feature altogether after people have put money into it. And then there's all these rumors of, oh, there's going to be dinosaurs and dragons, and Shane shows off the dragons. Hey, look, we've got flyable dragons. Where are the flyable dragons? What's going on with any of this? All I'm seeing is lies to hype people up to get them into the project, to get them to spend that moolah, and then they move on to the next exciting thing. But they never actually make the thing that they've sold people on. If they'd have released this as a pre-alpha 3.5, 4 years ago when they were first showing off the world that you can pan around, I'd have been like, yeah, it's absolutely abysmal, but at least it's on par with what was expected. At least they've reached the minimum bar, right? But there's no multiplayer after they've been showing them running around multiplayer, which again, I don't even believe was multiplayer. It just looked like a load of scripted actors running around on a flat area that wasn't in the Earth 2 project. And you need to remember that this was delayed 3 times now. Once it was delayed at the 11th hour, literally hours before it was supposed to release by another week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's come out with nothing working and nothing to do. That's embarrassing. You're not even doing reputational damage because you've got no reputation. Your reputation is promising everything and delivering nothing. And all this release has done is bolstered that reputation of promise the world, quite literally, and deliver absolutely bugger all. And it doesn't matter if you're saying, oh, but it's pre-alpha, everything else is going to be added. Like, what's the everything else? Because at this point, nobody knows. And all you've got is pay real life money as a crypto to walk around and try not to die from your own action of walking around. It boggles the mind, it really does. But anyway, ladies and gents, as always, a massive thank you for watching, a huge thank you to the patrons, and until next time, take care.